Ik kan het niet laten. Water erbij?
Je moest hem wel maken, hè?
Moeten maken.
Ja, dat klinkt heel leuk, water erbij. Want dan lijkt het alsof ik zo'n hele range van Titanic voor me krijg. Maar dat is nog niet het geval. Het is hier in Nederland weliswaar wel te krijgen, maar nog niet alle expressies. Jij hebt de mazzel gehad dat je voor ons alvast eventjes een mooie expressie hebt kunnen doormaken. En die heb je voor ons op de band gezet.
Ja, in onze vorige uitzending kon je natuurlijk al luisteren naar eigenlijk mijn bezoekje, waar we ook even een dingetje hebben doorgeproefd. Die we daar hebben mogen proeven bij de Titanic distillers. Maar ja, we moesten nog wat meer doorproeven, want die jongens hadden gewoon 6, 7 expressies staan die we niet allemaal konden krijgen. We hebben hier de premium Irish whisky.
Het is een straf, Dennis.
En het blijft pot stil. En het moest gewoon even gebeuren. Dus ik neem jullie nog 1 keer terug mee naar mijn prachtige Belfast. Of nou ja, ons prachtige Belfast. Waar ik eigenlijk nog even de range ga doorproeven. Waar we wat dieper in gaan. Want we doen niet zo heel vaak proefsessies in onze podcast.
Nee, dat moeten we vaker doen, vind ik. Dat vinden de luisteraars er ook samen met mij, hè? Ja. Iedereen is met me eens. We moeten hier vaker wat proeven. Ik moet dus wat vaker wat proeven.
Nou, we gaan terug naar Belfast.
Dit is Drop or Dram. De podcast voor whiskyliefhebbers. Van beginner tot kenner. Schenk je favoriete glas in. En geniet met ons mee.
Ja, en ik zit hier in de Titanic Distillery. Aan de Thompson Dock. De bijzondere historische plek waar natuurlijk de Titanic gebouwd is en vandaan vertrokken is. En het is nog steeds een bizar gebouw, want het is de oude pumphouse. En de oude pumphouse, zoals we dat noemen, die werden met mega grote pompen, waar ik net een blik heb op mogen werpen, die gebruikt werden om natuurlijk uiteindelijk het water uit de droogdok te pompen, waar de schepen werden afgebouwd. En ze vertelden me dat als je de pompen aan zou zetten, dat het evenveel water verplaatst van een Olympisch size swimmingpool in een minuut. Nou, dat zegt wel iets. Maar ik zit hier natuurlijk met een hele andere reden. En ik heb David en Damien, de head distiller, nog steeds bereid gevonden om ons eventjes door de range van de Titanic whiskies door te nemen. En dan gaan we gewoon eens even verder kijken. Sommige van de producten zou je misschien niet direct op het schap kunnen vinden. Maar dat komt natuurlijk ook omdat ze hier wat mooie spirits gewoon eventjes zelf willen bewaren. En die kan je natuurlijk altijd in de distillery kopen. Maar er moet natuurlijk wel goed geproefd worden. Dus dat proeven, dat gaan we natuurlijk uitgebreid doen. En dan beginnen we natuurlijk met een premium Irish whisky. Dat is eigenlijk hun core expressie, hun allereerste whisky die ze uitgebracht hebben en toch wel eigen bijzonder karakter heeft. Natuurlijk hebben zij inmiddels over een potstil en je kan niet Ierser gaan dan potstil. Als we het over de historie hebben van Irish whisky en je zegt van wat is het originele recept, dan zeg ik toch altijd potstil is typically Irish. En mocht je de andere aflevering al gehoord hebben, waar ik Daniel, Damien en David door elkaar haal. Maar we zitten zulke lekkere dingen, spirits, dan het duizelt mij gewoon van smaken. Dus ook af en toe van namen. Want we werken in een working distillery. Ja, het is hard werken. Maar Damien, de head distiller, die nam ons al mee naar al die mooie producten die we hier hebben. En waar we in de toekomst misschien nog wel meer gaan van horen. Dus we wachten eventjes terug tot Damien terug is. En hij komt alweer aangerend, zoals ik zie. Want het is een working distillery. En een head distiller zit misschien wel op zijn telefoon te kijken, zoals we dat tegenwoordig gewoon doen. En dan zit hij niet Games of Thrones te kijken, maar hij zit echt letterlijk gewoon al zijn apparatuur in de gaten te houden gewoon in de tasting room. En dat is toch altijd wel weer bijzonder. En toen zei hij van, sorry, maar ik moet even met de gist en de fermentatie even aan de slag. Dus ik ben zo terug. Ik moet even wat gist toevoegen aan een van de fermentation tanks. Dat kan gebeuren. Maar Yeah, David, once again, thank you very much for having me, you as brand ambassador.
Our pleasure.
It's my pleasure because I've got 5 different glasses in front of me. I tasted already one, and that was the new make spirit Damien pulled out of his pocket, which is very light and fruity, but also it's got a strong aftertaste. It's got a real character already, and it's just literally from the spirit from yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, straight off the stills. Yeah. Like I said before, if this is an exam, I hope those are 50 marks in that class. And then I suppose, like you mentioned, our maturation profile. At the moment, we're planning on just 100% unrinsed bourbon for now. And then we were just talking this morning, actually, we're going to try and figure out what is our spirit going to be? What have we got? We've got no real historical history there to follow. We've got a blank canvas here to do something with. Starting with 100% bourbon is a great starting point, and then we'll add flavour by rebarreling as we go along.
Yeah, and the spirit is made from. Is this the single malt we're tasting?
That's the single malt.
Yeah, because we were tasting the new make, and I said, new make can also be something completely different. Can also be the pot still, of course. Take note, it's absolutely wonderful, and we'll keep an eye on you on years to come for if you get the other marks.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, because this is only half of it, and this is now we have to wait, and that's the years to come. But we're tasting the range of the Titanic distillery, and well, where do we start? And we start with the core expression, of course. This is the bread and butter. This is the heart and soul of Titanic distillery here, and that is your beautiful. I must say, it's a beautiful bottle with a very, very clean label. Titanic Distillers Premium Irish Distiller. A very, very small reading on the label. Without my reading glasses, I can't do it. But it's not about reading. Well, is it about reading whiskey, or is it?
I think for me, it's very much about the full experience of what you get with whiskey, and being able to observe the bottle, the story, the narrative, and just give that significance that we mentioned before about our place on the map. I know I sound like a broken record, but it is something that's very important to us. But also that idea of how people convey that in the modern day. For us, it's all about bringing that forward and being able to be part of people's experiences. We look back to the dock workers, enjoying a dram together after a hard day's work, and being able to have that convivial moment. How do we look at that now in 2025? It's people coming together for events, coming to parties to share experiences. It's that ability to bring people together. We believe great things happen when people come together. And being able to have a read of that gets you that historical significance, but pouring a glass and enjoying a good dram either on your own or with friends is a great way to experience that firsthand.
And the spirit, the universal language of the spirit, it brings people together. Just enjoying a glass, like you said. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your background is, what kind of title you wear. You can be a captain, you can be a military officer. It doesn't really matter. If you pour a glass and we're enjoying a glass together, we're just people enjoying whiskey.
Exactly, and that is one of the most beautiful things around whiskey, and it goes back to nosing and tasting, as we will do in a second. Everyone has a different experience. Everyone has a different, association with certain aromas and flavors. Likewise, when they're enjoying this in their convivial moment, enjoying the drink together on their own, be it whatever it is, it's being able to celebrate that moment in the way you want to. And we have a whiskey there that is perfect for you to enjoy that experience. So, I can see you having a nose there as well.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Keep on talking, I'll be drinking. So, I'll be nosing and tasting.
Nosing and tasting. I'm going back to think, your whiskey, my friend, whatever way you want to. But yeah, we mentioned the nose before, and we have that great grain profile, nice and floral, but those malts coming through as well, with, for me personally, that nice stone fruit element, a little bit of dried fruit coming from the sherry casks that we have in there. But for me, this is, I'm a big visual sort of character, but if I can imagine sort of nectarines on a barbecue, that's what I very much get from this. And it's that white smoke, it's that almost that sort of applewood smoke starting to come through as well on the palate there. But hopefully you'll see that it's those elements coming together, but some of that's quite adaptable on the palate as well.
Yeah, you said you were talking grainy, but I don't think it's too grainy. It's not like a malt grainy. It's so fully matured. It's very full bodied. I get very dry mouth, and I mean that in a good sense. It's got a very lingering on kind of aftertaste. It's almost dry. You got the peaty notes, but you don't use peated barley, do you?
So in the blend, yes, that distillate would have been peated barley.
Or
So that 10%, yeah. So it's 10% triple distilled peated malt. Yeah. And that would have been barreled or matured and then extracted for the blending.
And it's got a nice element. It's not overpowering. It's just giving that slight edge, that peppery notes. But like you said, the nectarines on the barbecue and the white smoke. And smoke can be in many different forms. But it's so easy, but it's not that easy.
I think it has enough weight to be in the glass by itself. You know, it's a great sipping whiskey as well. 40%, the finish does linger very well.
40%?
For just 40%, yeah. So there's a great character there. It's the standard percentage just there. And as we go through the range, we'll see we increase our ABVs, our percentages a little bit more. But yeah, we wanted 40 for this one because we want that adaptability. But it's got a lot of body to it. And for me, as someone who I enjoy, I have a bartending background, and I'm a big advocate that you can mix whiskey, you can enjoy it if you do want to. Again, going back to that earlier point, your whiskey, your way. Flavors such as pineapple, peach work very well with this whiskey. If you're looking for some cocktails to be inspired, also fantastic in an Irish coffee as well, I must say. Many of them responsibly drank, of course, for testing purposes.
On the other hand, it's very responsible. You're talking so many fruits. There are all the vitamins you get in a liquid form.
Absolutely.
So two pieces of fruit a day. I'll have 2 glasses. That's good enough for me. Lovely. It's absolutely wonderful. It stands out on its own, but I can imagine it will do well in cocktails. It can do well during parties, but even late night, your own glass by yourself, listen to your favorite podcast. Or something else, some favorite music. That is absolutely some wonderful stuff. We've got something, some different sort of glass number 2. Glass number 3, because we were talking about the new make. Take us through that one, the green label.
So there we have our 5-year pot still, 5-year-old pot still Irish whiskey. And going back to that earlier point, we wanted something that's really signified Irish whiskey, what it is, what makes it unique, what makes it special, and what better than a pot still. We wanted to have that great mix of malted and unmalted barley. In our case, we have an even split, a 50-50 ratio of malted to unmalted. And those elements just come together beautifully to create a really big, again, looking at that visual aspects that I particularly enjoy. I get a lot of green fruits coming from this. It's a very green whiskey, I find. And for that as well, we're just aging in first fill American oak barrels for a minimum of 5 years and bottling at 46%. No chill filtration, no color added. It's all natural cask color. And it's just if you like, I think this is a whiskey for people who, want to get to the grips of what whiskey is. Do you know what I mean? And want to understand, what it is.
Maybe what Irish whiskey is.
What Irish whiskey is, of
because
course.
We're talking pot still, when a lot of people still don't know pot still. They heard about single malt, which is single, one distillery, malted barley, and single pot still. It's a product on its own. Exactly. It's typically Irish. It's malted, unmalted barley. It gives that peppery notes. It's giving that a little bit more spice to it because of the unmalted barley, but it's so there's nobody that does a style of whiskey this way.
Yeah, and it steeps in history as well. We see obviously the taxations imposed on the Irish, the malting taxes that were imposed there, and it's the way of getting around it, that ingenuity of going, we're going to produce something with a portion of the whiskey, portion of that mash bill being unmalted barley. It's ingenuity. It's being able to, still carry on. And it's very significant to talk about these things. It really is, because it is part of it. And going back to that point, yes, we've been around for a few years, but, the narrative continues. And we obviously want to make a note to the narrative of Irish whiskey as well, where it's come from, where it's going. And being part of that journey, it's important to keep these things relevant.
Yeah, talking about Titanic distilleries and the first two glasses, this is your core range. This is what's out there for everybody to grab a bottle and enjoy. Your premium blend and your pot still whiskey.
That's right.
We also have two other ones, distillery exclusives. Tell us more.
Yeah, we are. So, Damien, I think, for us, so I joined a few months ago, and, this was something that caught my attention straight away was, the Pump House series. And my first day here, I remember speaking to Damien about it, and I think just the project alone.
Well, I was blown away. It's like,
yeah,
I got the nose from my glass and it's like, what's happening here?
So you have 07 ST there. But again, Damien, I think it's safe to say the Pump House series is very much, first of all, celebrating this place, what it's all about. But going back to the premium Irish whiskey, our blend, is celebrating those different elements which make up a fantastic blended Irish whiskey.
Yep, you've hit the nail on the head there, yes. The Pump House series is a collection of whiskey that spawns from our core range. So the 7-year-old double distilled liquid actually is the 15% element in our blend. So all the whiskies in the Pump House series are from the blend and then just have a different spin on them. So we've taken that 7-year-old single malt that was double distilled, and then we put them into ex imperial stout casks. So if you turn the bottle around, you'll see on the back it says our brewery on the back. So that's a local brewery that had an imperial stout in a bourbon cask for 20 months, which is a long time for an imperial stout to be in a cask. So you can imagine how you see those casks.
Did they forget it or?
No, I think they just had the time on their side. They just they wanted to see how far they could push it. And when I heard that they had those casks available, I was like, I'm taking a few of those, please. And we put some 7-year-old double distilled malt into it for 6 months, and that is the result. So we filtered it enough, but not excessively. It's not a very bright whiskey because we wanted to keep all that flavour in there, and unchill filtered, natural colour as well. And we're pretty proud of it.
Yeah, well, the people couldn't see me, but I was just nosing when David was talking about it. Like, whoa, what's happening here? And Damien straight away, the smile on your face is like, okay, I'm very proud on this as well. But the stout cask, it's the creaminess. It's very indulgent. It's very rich. This is whiskey with a wow factor, isn't it? It's the stout is so predominantly there. But on the other hand, it's also one of the layers only.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, again, it's a nice little nod to, Damien's experience as a brewer as well. It's again, what we're looking to do is really sort of give this thing where there is a whiskey there for everybody. We want people, I'm a firm believer that if you don't like whiskey, you've just not found the whiskey that's right for you just yet.
Well said.
And this one is a great example. We have a lot of folk come in here who, are familiar with stouts and want to try something that they want to make that connection with. And this is a great way to do it. This is a great whiskey all year round, but especially when it's a little bit colder, going into those autumn months, those winter months, this is something you can really cozy up with. And some of that actually changes and evolves in the glass for me, Damien, that, it's one that you can, I say sit
every
with.
sip, more or less.
Well, that's it. I mean, you say, it might change over half an hour. I don't know whether it would last for a half an hour in the glass. Personally,
there's not enough in my glass.
But we're at, we want something that's, can really celebrate the different elements there. And that single malt has so much ability to take on flavor, and the stout does a fantastic job in bringing through those coffee notes, that dark chocolate, those sort of like dried red berries as well. It's a very, very good sipping whiskey.
Yeah, I watered it down just a little bit because the ABV was 46%. But even with the water it down a little bit, it gets so much more flavors. There's new layers coming up because there's very rich, abundant flavors on top of it. But it keeps on giving.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps on giving. It's
Yeah, and another thing we're pretty proud of as well, that's a double distilled liquid. And most people assume Irish whiskey is all triple distilled.
Yes.
So we like to break down a few barriers here, and so there's something we've tried now. We've tried Irish peated whiskey, and we've tried double distilled Irish. So we're not just a one-track pony over here.
No, and where are you taking us next?
Next is the next Pump House release. I don't think it'd be interesting to see if you get. Oh, you've read the label. I was going to say if you can guess what was that.
Well, my glasses are on the table, so I can look at the label and look very interesting, but I can't read it. So no, it's a single grain, but
Yeah, so
that's it.
single grain. So
Leave it
again,
from
one of the elements from our blend. So 72% of our blend is grain whiskey, which is a massive carrier of flavour. So we've taken some grain whiskey and which has spent 8 years in bourbon, and then divided that into 3. So Madeira, Muscatel, and rye. So
not the obvious casks.
No, not obvious at all. And
maybe for one or a Muscatel finish or a rye finish, but not all 3 of them.
yeah, so the Muscatel and Madeira together, they're dessert wines. They're very sweet, and the obvious flavors that would come with that. But then the rye just is in there for a bit of balance, just to cut through all that sweetness.
And the Madeira, and the Muscatel, completely different opposites, kind of. Yeah, dessert wines with their own characters, but the rye gives its own flavor. In the nose, it is typically grain, and you go like, okay, the maltiness, the grain, the sweetness in there, but on the palate, guys, I was amazed about the stout, but come on, a lot of people think, yeah, it's just grain whiskey.
Well, that's the point, and I think that's
It's not just grain whiskey.
no, it's so important. And people go like, oh, you grain whiskey's this, and you add it in to make up a blend and you just pack it into. I mean, no, it's the
Volume filler.
That's it. There's a process there, and as Damien said, it's such a great carrier of flavor, and we very much celebrate grain whiskey here, and I think everyone should. And if you don't like grain whiskey, well, there's a reason why blends the highest selling whiskeys world over. You know what I mean? It's largely down to that wonderful grain whiskey and the blending process. But for me, just having that great stereotypical rye character, that melon, that fresh fruit coming in on the nose, that spice, and then, as you say, those dessert wines starting to come through on the back palate there, it's so interesting. There's so much going on there, and it really is a testament to great maturation, and just grain whiskey as well. It's a key part of our Irish whiskey.
Very important question.
Please,
why isn't this in a core ridge?
Damien, I'll hand over to you.
And I'm lucky enough to be in the distillery. I can take a bottle home, but why?
Well, I suppose that's the fun of experimentation, isn't it? You get to see what floats and what doesn't. So you never know, it might reappear. It's a pity we don't have any more of so that's the 3rd expression in our Pump House series. The first expression was a pretty cool one. So it took the 5-year-old pot still, and it was finished in PX. We've 1 bottle in the distillery, and it's in display down there, and the colour on it's incredible, but it sold out pretty quickly. I would love to bring that back again.
Yeah. Pump House series. So the Pump House series is, well, you have to come to Belfast.
That's right.
To get a sip of it, and well, guys, enjoy the tour, because that is a great tour, and it's an amazing distillery here in the Titanic quarters with loads of history, but some amazing whiskies. It may be a little bit of a shame that you can't get it everywhere. On the other hand, well kept secrets. Keep it in the vault up here, and do the Pump House series. We're talking 2025 new Pump House series coming along.
Let's just say there's some ideas coming down the line, so keep an eye out.
And also for the Core Ridge, maybe expanding.
100%, yes. So there is certainly something coming up on the horizon, and all will be revealed in 2026.
So, well, if you listen to it in 2027, there might be some very, very interesting whiskies coming out. So altogether, Titanic Distillery, amazing whiskies. The first distillery in Belfast to produce whiskey on its own again after 90 years of pretty much silence, and the rise and fall of Irish is unstoppable, but especially the rise of Irish whiskey with pot still, with blends, with single malts, with double distilled, triple distilled, peated, unpeated, rye, muscatels. I can go on and on and on and on, but it's absolutely amazing, guys. Thank you so much for letting me having a look in your kitchen, so to speak, and picking your brains, Damien. Thank you very much for because you can't see him, but he's constantly monitoring the distilling process next door on his phone. It's an amazing sight, and we're here there tasting wonderful things in an absolutely amazing building. So if you can't make it, we'll bring it back to you, because David is all over the place, all over Europe, all over Whiskey Live Madrid, Whiskey Live Dublin, Whiskey Live The Hague. You're going to skip, but you're plenty of times in the Netherlands.
Yep.
So we'll get you over. We'll do a perfectly good tasting and pick your brain as well. Wow.
And I always bring a checked bag as well. So what I mean. So if you ever see me at a festival in the Netherlands or anywhere in Europe, just say what's under the counter, and I guarantee you there'll be something that's
the reason why I'll carry your bag. And
there you go, my friend. Yes, of course. But
hey guys, thank you for having me. This is absolutely been a wonderful tasting, and the episode where we dive a little bit deeper inside Titanic and a small tour of the distillery itself. Once again, thank you for hosting this great event for me. It's my personal joy.
It's our pleasure. It really is. Thank you for coming down. Much appreciated.
Een slaantje? Ja, een slaantje. Fijn wat je had.
Cheers.
Dit was Drop or Dram. Vergeet niet om je te abonneren op onze podcast of kijk op onze website www.dropordram.nl. Tot de volgende keer.